Hmm. People are joining on, no? That's why there's a noise. It's just a notification.
We are back on.
I could see Varun, Ranjit, Meek, Sanjeev, Admin.
I'm in, Milan. Thanks.
Mrunmay, I could see Devu, I could see Ranjit. I could see. Let me try Vishalji.
Milan, we can't see.
Yeah, Vishal yet to join.
Okay.
Is that a light or a fan behind you, Milan?
Oh, that's fun. हाँ विशाल जी आपको वो क्लोज करके स्क्रीन वापस लॉगिन करना होगा. अच्छा ठीक है ठीक. Everyone is waiting. Most of us तो आ गए थे. Meeting ID is एक मिनट 635 994 9198 हाँ और पासवर्ड 1234 अगर पूछ रहा है. हाँ वो ज्वाइन हो रहे हैं. उनका मैक कुछ हैंग हो गया. हाँ वो फैन ही है पीछे.
That's pretty cool.
Hello.
Teletubbies.
My Apple Mac hung about. It's froze.
या विशाल जी आपको वो स्क्रीन वापस शेयर करना होगा.
Yes. Hold on. Yep. Okay. So yes, where we were, like, I mean, on this Bitcoin network, right? I mean, we were discussing this Bitcoin network, like, yeah, the question I think you asked was like about which set of cryptocurrencies are the leaders, or which one is the best, right? Someone asked that. But
yeah, I asked that.
Yeah. So briefly speaking, I mean, like, Bitcoin was the first among this block, but it may not necessarily be the one which will come out as a leader. And this is very important to understand. The first is not necessarily the leader. So Bitcoin per se has got some flaws, or at least like has got some shortfalls. Principally among them is like among the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin transaction fees are the highest. Though it's low, it can be low compared to other stuff. Among the set of the top cryptocurrencies leaders, if you say Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin transaction fees are the highest. So anybody who is accepting Bitcoin will now have to think about, like, this extra transaction fees, and these are not like small stuff. Like, I mean, Virtually for the Bitcoin Cash, it's like something like 3 cents or 2 cents, something like that. And for the Bitcoin, it can even be in dollars, that transaction fee. So something for a small amount like a coffee or something like that, and if you're asked to pay even £1 more, um, it may not be that favorable. But if you're asked to pay like 2 cents more, which is fine. And this is where Bitcoin Cash and Ripples are trying to do so. Like they have lowered the transaction fees to such a level that it's now very, very like teasing, or it's like very, very like fantastic stuff for the retailers, normal people to buy and normal people to use it.
There's a conversation about Bitcoin being gold 2.0 as against a transaction currency, when the others will sort of take over, the other altcoins will take over as transaction currencies, while Bitcoin
Exactly.
could be considered as a like store of wealth as against a transactional currency.
Yes, this is what is happening is like since Bitcoin is an open source, there is a set of people who are taken out as in open source world. What happens is like the people who contribute to the code the most, or are in the, so let's assume that these team leaders in the Bitcoin world, they are opposed to bringing down the transaction fee. They want the Bitcoin to be used more as a storage of value, so more as a gold and diamond than being used as a kind of a transaction oriented currency. So if this is the future that what Bitcoin is seeing, that okay, it doesn't want to compete with all the upstarts, which are basically trying to claim that they are the best in the transaction oriented world, then the future of the Bitcoin is more towards like a storage of value, as Aki mentioned, and which will be like treated as more like a gold and diamond, saying like, okay, you don't use it on a day-to-day basis, but if you want to use it, yeah, you can use it, but they're more like a storage of value. And this is where I'm also completely like, I mean, this is where Bitcoin world is going to. Like Bitcoin is fundamentally opposed. Those team sets of team leaders or their open source main guys are opposed to competing with these upstarts. So if they're not willing to compete with the upstarts on the transaction fee, on the speed of the transaction, virtually then Bitcoin is then has to be used as a storage of value.
Just to add on that, the average transaction fees as of now is around $25 to $28 per transaction. That's the
Yes,
average fees.
exactly.
And the amount of time to process one transaction as of now, it's 70 minutes, which is why the Bitcoin is like lagging behind its like practical use, but they are building something called as Lightning Network, which will reduce its like transaction time quite significantly. And that might reduce the cost as well. But as of now, that's still in process.
This is something that they are doing, but I mean, I do not see Bitcoin coming up in the same way, because fundamentally its architecture is not open for that kind of stuff. Because underlying that particular stuff, as I briefly mentioned, there's a block size, and the block size is what differentiates the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. If you do a quick search on the Google and try to see the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash with the block size, and you will see that this block size is what Bitcoin developers or the team leaders, they're opposed to changing. And if they do not change that, what it means is Bitcoin can only take 1 megabyte, 1 MB of transactions at one point for transactions, for going through, for taking it through, which means the waiting times will be huge. Whereas the Bitcoin Cash and other currencies, they've expanded this particular block size to like 8 meg and even more. And then, so I mean, there's a big debate happening about this. Maybe at one point they will come down to making it big, but then there are other parts of the code which may need to be changed, or whatever the impact assessment of this has to happen. But that's where the forking of other projects have been done, and they have been able to successfully get or tap into this particular niche opportunity, which this programmable currencies or cryptocurrencies have opened up. But at this present moment, because of this, because when it was first came, like when it first came in 2010, 2012, the transactions were okay, and then the fees were a bit low, like in dollars and stuff. But now the transaction times are huge. and which means that the Bitcoin, as in the practical usage, is like more like a nightmare.
Out of several currencies, there are two only with no extra no time for the transaction time, which is Ripple and Lumen. Apparently, do you know anything about Lumen?
No, I don't know about the limit, but the Bitcoin Cash should be there. Bitcoin Cash is also like pretty fast. Bitcoin Cash, but Bitcoin Cash has got like a cent or 2 cents like a transaction fee. Ripple, yeah, Ripple should be like Ripple is very good. That's why I said.
Bitcoin Cash is showing 60 minutes transaction time.
No. Bitcoin Cash should be very fast, is it?
Is saying there are 6 confirmation required.
Yeah. Even I have noticed that there are 6 confirmation and then only it does it. Yeah.
Is it 6 confirmation? Why this confirmation? Where is this confirmation for?
To validate in the chain, actually.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't join earlier call, but I was on another call, so actually.
That's okay.
It's okay. You're always welcome.
Vishalji, we have another speaker, Varun Agarwal, and if you can wrap up in five minutes.
Yeah. So I think we have had some lively discussion. Let's just quickly go through the last two slides.
We can have the question answer session.
Yeah. So now we come to disadvantages of Bitcoin. So we have seen some advantages, and obviously we have touched upon some of the disadvantages of Bitcoin specifically and cryptocurrencies in general. Here I've just listed down some of the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies in general, not the Bitcoin. But in Bitcoin, I think we were going through the transaction times and other stuff. But unlike the bank accounts, there is no government-backed insurance. This is one of the big things. So wherever you keep your Bitcoins, you need to understand the implication of not being backed by any kind of a government or anything as such. So if the bank goes insolvent, at least you have 85K of the insurance being covered. So there's no such thing with the Bitcoin or wherever you want, however you want to store. And the users can be anonymous. So basically, most of the online world is filled with people having fake profiles or using aliases to do the transactions. So which means that this is being used quite a lot in the corrupt sense, and the mafias and the laundering and other aspects of it. So this, I mean, you are tapping into a network. You may be the very white guy, but you're tapping into a network which is in a big usage. Which is lion's share of it is being used in that particular stuff. And thirdly, and the most important of it is that for a Bitcoin to be used as a money, the value has to be stable. A £5 note today, or a cash that you have, like in 10 years time or 5 years time, I mean, pound may fluctuate, but it still has a value, like, which is more or less like, okay, within a specific range. Whereas in the Bitcoin,
I would like to add here. Recently, I went and met this guy. He is one of the leading speaker, and he has done a lot of research. And then he made exactly same point. He said during those times also, during the kingdom times, king never liked the fluctuation in the currency, because all of a sudden war comes. Your currency high is so high, your cost of war itself is so high that you cannot afford that war, right? And then you have to prepare yourself and all. And in 1637, the prices of tulip went so high, rocketed, and then they literally came down. So he said, also his assumption was, not his point was, he said he do not know the Bitcoin prices could go up to 40-50K also. But there is one day, he's saying, it will come, it will become practically zero actually, because there is no value. Because you can say that how much money that people have spent, so yes, there is some value kind of thing and all, but actual it's staying so volatile that it cannot withstand on its own. Because by the time you imagine the guys who has spent initial days, there were they saying that 1,000 Bitcoin for a pizza, they will be like, what? How much I spent for something like this?
For me, like any value of the money itself, it has to have some kind of a stabilization factor.
Yeah.
A currency cannot behave like its value can go up 10 times, 15 times in 1 month, or come down in 10, 15 times. That to me tells me that the currency is either immature or it is yet to find a stable footing.
Yeah.
The stable footing can be higher in value than where it is at this present moment. It can be lower in value than where it is
Yeah.
at this present moment. So as a to be used as a money, it needs to have a certain kind of stability. It needs to have a kind of like a stable factor to it, so that people can then say like, okay, my reserve money can be stored in the Bitcoin, because just going up is not possible. It can go up and down, but within a certain limit. And to me, like at this present moment, Bitcoin is still like in the process of finding that stable footing. Let's put it that way. So it's like relatively immature. People are trying to see like what kind of use cases can it be brought up to. So it's like it's a kind of a new phenomenon which takes time to stabilize, and who knows whether it will be trading in like 6 figures in 5 years time, or it will be down in 2 figures. Who knows? But there is a stability factor that is associated with it. And lastly, to wrap up the stuff, like I mean, I'll just put down some of the links where you can get even more knowledge about all this. We're talking about the Bitcoins and the cryptocurrencies and the exchanges where you can buy, sell, or different kinds of wallets, to the use cases in the business world, and all kinds of happenings in this arena.
Okay.
Uh,
Are we open for question and answer now?
Before we are going into the Q&A, I think we do have another speaker, Varun, who's going to share his experience for next 10, 15 minutes. And after that, we can take the question answers. Yeah. So
Okay.
I think, Vishalji, you can stop sharing your screen. Oh, you have already done that. Okay. Over to you, Varun.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't have any presentation to share, to be honest. So I'm just going to share my experience with cryptocurrencies.
Varun, your volume is a bit low. Can you just...
Okay, so how should I increase my...
Maybe just increase the volume of your laptop.
Varun, this is very unprofessional. Next time we expect better.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
You joined late, so you're not even supposed to say anything, okay? You have lost that right.
No, I am giving expert comment.
Okay, is it audible now?
Yes.
Okay,
is,
cool.
yes.
It might be the mic might be a bit away, so that's why. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do, basically, I don't have any presentation with me. The only thing is like I'm gonna share my experience with cryptocurrencies. So like I've been tracking this various cryptocurrencies and general like use case of that, and I'm quite heavily invested in Ripple because I've been tracking that for like past 7-8 months. Actually,
Wow.
more than that, yeah. So the difference in like to be comparing with, like if I compare with, I'm a big Ripple fan, I would say, because of like its use case and its history, and the where it differentiates from Bitcoin is obviously the transaction processing time, which is like it can process around 1500 transactions per second or per minute. Like that's the main bit which banks are looking forward to, and the transaction cost is a fraction of a cent. So which is another reason like a lot of people, a lot of banks are quite interested in, and they are using it for cross-border like transfers. So like currently when you have to transfer from one country to another, you have to go through Swift or like various like Nostro accounts and everything, which delays transactions. So what banks are now trying to do is use Ripple network, or they might not use a Ripple coin. So there's a different things with the Ripple company. So there are three things. One is a Ripple Labs, one is a Ripple network, and then is a Ripple coin, which is XRP. So it might happen that banks use XRP like Ripple coin, which means then the value of the XRP will go up, or they might just use a Ripple network and build their own currency. Because obviously if they have to buy a currency from the market, they know like it's going to cost them more. So they can come up with their own currency. So currently, I think there is a bank in North Korea and in Japan. They've already started transacting through. And there are around 100 or 120 banks world over which are in a testing phase right now. And that is why you can see that the prices in past few months has gone really high because like the banks have started adopting and testing their thing. And it's the thing like they might start using it as well, which means then obviously there's another difference between Bitcoin and Ripple is Ripple is already pre-mined. All the coins has been already generated, which is 100 billion coins. Yes,
But
Ram.
that's a big risk actually, and it's a private limited company.
It is a limited company. Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, like again, like nobody owns Ripple. It's again like goes through the like blockchain technology, which is like you've got like a certain nodes like which authenticates all the transactions and everything. Now, if tomorrow bank starts using like their own currency, then obviously it can't affect XRP.
No, but another thing is the moment they feel they can mine more actually. That's a
That's
risk.
the that's the credibility of the company. So the Ripple has already said they're not going to mine any more coins, and the way they have done it is they have already pre-mined 100 billion coins, and out of which only 38 billion are in circulation right now, and
Yeah. So
55 billion coins they have put in an escrow account, and rest of the coins they have kept it for future development of the company, for the programmers and everything.
but see, that's what because I've been tracking, and I think Ripple is the only currency which is self-destructing. So what happens? Isn't it true?
It's like okay, so the way it's self-destructing, it's like because the cost of a transaction is a fraction of a cent, so instead of paying that, it destroys a bit of a XRP. But the volume of destruction we are talking about is so minimum, it doesn't affect. So far I think it's 7 million ripples has been destroyed out of 38 or 40 billion, whichever has been like generated like in circulation.
Okay.
So
And who has that right to escrow that that they can release it in the future? That's a core team, or is it
no,
a
no. So
network?
it's all in the plan. So Ripple has said they will start releasing into the market 1 billion per month, but it will never exceed a daily monthly traded volume on the exchanges. So if the monthly traded volume is less, the rest of the accounts goes back into escrow account. And they have said like so they have said like they will release it in two ways. One, either put it directly into the open market, or they will directly sell it to the banks or whoever the entity is. So the banks can have it with it themselves, and they can like because like they need to have like addresses into multiple countries. They don't need to sell it onto the exchange. They can transfer from one wallet to another wallet to make the transfer happen.
My thinking on this is a little bit different. I
Okay.
think banks will never use Ripple coins. They will use a
Yep.
Ripple network because
Yep.
for the regulatory purpose, they won't be allowed. Government won't allow them, and it's not feasible for them because it is just like if the girls are not there in this call, I can say that you're giving your goatees to another hand that they can squeeze anytime. So that's not a good idea. No CEO of a bank will like that.
Girls are in the call, okay?
Oh shit! That's why I asked. You should have shouted earlier. But
Dude, you
sorry.
should have known. Minal is everywhere anyway, so.
I know. She's become so.
No,
So I think coming back to this.
that's still debatable.
Yeah.
They might use it, they might not use it. That's still.
But what is your assessment? This is my thinking. I was
Yeah.
going on, but I want to know you because you are more involved. Yeah.
So my thinking is like for now, I think to begin with, they might start using it. Like they are still testing it for testing purpose. They have been still using it. So and later on, whether they actually they create their own currency or not, because don't forget, because if the bank creates their own currency, every bank will be creating their own currency, which brings back into the same like issue what we have today. So they have to use a one generated currency which all the banks can use. Because even if they use Ripple network, if they create multiple currencies again on the Ripple network, they will have the same challenges again.
It will be like same exchange rate. So then there will be another exchange coming in, but instant. So they will be using for crypto for instant
but you still
payments.
have to create a fiat currency into bank's Ripple currency, and then from one bank to another Ripple, and then into fiat, which means again you'll be having like delays in transaction, and the transaction cost will be higher. So if they agree, like all the banks who want to use this network, they come up with a one single currency which only banks will use, then yes, maybe. But that's still in progress, and we have to see over the time like what happens.
But how realistic do you think? What is your ideal, not practical view on that? I think this is highly unlikely because different countries, different governments, They won't allow. Even government do not want all
Well,
those
the
things
thing
and
is,
all.
the
What
government
is
doesn't like cryptocurrencies at all, anyways,
at all?
because it
Yeah,
takes away all the like control from their hand.
control
Like they
from them.
can't control inflation, deflation. Like they can't print money, so they hate blockchains, anyways. Like
Yeah,
cryptocurrency, sorry, not blockchains, but
yeah.
cryptocurrencies. So,
Cryptocurrencies. Yeah,
whether they allow it or not, that's a very debatable thing. And many countries have been legalizing it. Many countries has been blocking it. So it's still wait and watch game for all the cryptocurrencies, not just Ripple or Bitcoin,
okay. Go.
because the main issue with the cryptocurrencies is it takes away, it puts the power into like private companies and into general public and banks, and the government can't do anything about that because it's a global network. Like nobody owns that one single entity, which is
Yeah.
where the main challenge is going to be. So that's why like they're still struggling to regulate it as well. So there's no regulation around that,
No,
because
no,
like
that's why this gentleman is called as David Goyri, and he writes this banking reports. Actually, he's in 25, very senior guy. I
Mhm.
personally met him, and that's what he was saying, that there is one factor which is going to come. He said this
Okay.
is like a tulip. I do not know whether
Mhm.
it's regulation or hack. One over the period of time that you find that something somewhere got hacked or something, boom, that day we'll find that this has heavily reduced. And he said yes, because people have spent millions and so much on there, so there will be some value. But this is unrealistic by where fluctuating by the time nobody is transacting. Actually, you wouldn't
Yes,
want to
as of
transact.
now,
I'm not
yes, yeah.
transacting.
So in
No,
past
I
few
think.
months,
Sorry, go on. Sorry,
yeah,
go on.
so in past few months, yes, the cryptocurrencies has become a new forex trading, kind of forex trading like platform,
Yeah,
where people are capitalizing on
speculation only, man.
speculation. Yes,
Speculation and just
and
satta
it's
bajari chal rahi hai isme.
yes, and it's more of a FOMO, like fear of missing out. Because there
Yeah,
you see a report, like people invested $5 7 years ago would have been like multimillionaires right now. So, and
yeah,
I get to like know now a lot of friends now, since the Ripple has gone up, like they have been crazy buying Ripple, even
yeah,
at
yeah,
like
yeah,
$2, $3, and they've been crazy about that. It's just like
yeah.
people are like, oh, they think the Ripple will go to the same level as
Yeah,
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it
It's not
can
possible.
never go to that
It
level.
no, it won't at all. Maximum, it will go to maximum £10 or $10,
No,
or
it
it
has
won't
got
go
a
tailors.
no,
Well,
no,
the
it has got a
chairman
more
of
potential.
Ripple is the richest man in the world at the moment, isn't he?
No,
No,
because
not
of the
currently.
volume. Because of the volume. Because if you have 1 billion and then price is 2, immediately you become 2 billion.
The ex CEO or the current CEO, he's I
Current
think,
chairman, right? Current
yeah, the
chairman.
chairman. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not the richest person, but I think he's next to now Bill Gates. No, not the Bill Gates. I think like the seventh or eighth list. He is, and he's quite top right now. Yeah, I
right.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
again, like that's the thing. The price, the reason for the price of the Ripple cannot go to the Bitcoin level is because of the market cap. So
Yeah.
currently we have got 100 billion coins in total, but 38 billion in circulation. So even if you take the current market cap, it's around 100 billion, and which is like just a half of Bitcoin.
No, but
And
see, the reason it's not about the volume, because what
no,
happens,
the market cap, the market cap.
market cap, but because Bitcoin has a market cap of 21 million, right? And out of which 16 million is already been mined. 16 to 15 to 16, so
The
there are
market cap,
only
like
six.
if it
Bitcoin
is
has a
a
market cap of
value,
238 billion.
yeah,
Which?
The number of coins in circulation is 21 million. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
I meant
yeah,
exactly same, that there are going to be only 21 million, and
yes.
that's why, because the volume is less and demand for Bitcoin is going up, that's driving the prices up and up, because people know that. But here it is 100 billion. Now
Yeah,
100 billion in circulation, that no way it's going to go to that value and all. And on top of that, Bitcoin was used for any purpose, basically drugs, mafia, all sponsors
well,
and
that's
anything.
still debatable. I think like all currencies can be used for that purpose, even the Bitcoins and the Ripple and everything. And I've heard like some stories, like on like actually some articles where like some countries they are Ripple ATMs as well now, or Bitcoin ATMs, something like that.
Bitcoin
The
ATM I heard about.
Bitcoin
Yeah,
ATMs, yeah.
I like
they're
to
giving
put.
actually physical Bitcoin, actually metal Bitcoin they're giving in some places. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Vishal, you.
I'm saying, like, I've been hearing your discussions and things like that. I like to point one thing. Like, I mean, obviously, I mean, getting the negative aspects of the stuff as to like whether it's a bubble or not. I'm getting the same vibe as what was there in 2008, 2010, like when Elon Musk first talked about the electric cars. It says like it is impossible. It is not possible at all. Like he has. What I'm trying to say is that yes, Bitcoin maybe is a bubble, but the the whole online phenomenon and the whole online network, the blockchain technology and everything that has been based upon, it's not a bubble. It's like a
Oh yeah,
proper.
no, I agree. I agree.
No, we are not saying it's the bubble. We are saying
No,
it
no,
is
no.
over high. See, a
Yeah,
whole idea was to get understanding and share the knowledge where you stand. Yeah, even
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of crypto. In fact, after this, I wanted to tell something. I'm already launching my one crypto project actually. So I'm working on that.
okay. So
So
when are you doing ICO?
yeah, I'm doing it within 2 months.
Okay,
No, I'm doing it actually.
that's good. That's good.
Some of the things are going on within there.
No,
It
yeah,
got delayed for silly reasons.
yeah,
But
Vishal,
yeah,
I
it is.
completely agree with you. The thing is, the cryptos might not exist after say 5-10 years, but the blockchain technology, which underpins all these cryptocurrencies, is gonna stay now,
Yeah.
because that changes so many issues of the current world. You know, like it's quite a, it's people have been saying that it's like a change what internet brought into the world. It's the same kind of change that the blockchain is gonna do the whole world again. And there's the another thing which is happening is, yeah, I don't know if anyone follows quantum computing. If that comes into the picture, that also changes a lot of things, like for the blockchain technology as
What is
well.
quantum computing? You saying?
So, you know, like the current computing works on a binary
Yeah.
code 0101.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
processes
Yeah.
one transaction at a time. In
Yeah.
quantum mechanics, it can process multiple transactions at the same time. So
Okay.
the multiple things can be exist, but the current limitations for that is the infrastructure. So right now they are quite big, and then try to reduce the size to make it viable and to make it like commercial. But that is still like quite a exciting area. So have a like read through about quantum computing. It's quite a like
Okay.
upcoming thing as well.
Warren, what you meant to say is that because the mining of the coins right now takes so long on are more CPU intensive, with quantum computing coming into picture, these coins which take so much time and mining will be reduced to like a few seconds. That's
No,
what
no, 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 no,
it
no, no.
will be
It's not
there. It
about
will be
that.
there.
So like, you know, you can have a cryptocurrency which has been already pre-mined. So it doesn't
No,
have to be that. It's
yeah,
about
I got it. But basically, what I'm
the
trying to say
use of
is that
the use
the
of the
val
blockchain technology in a quantum like computing.
It
What
is.
is
quantum.
It is.
yeah.
It's just like the faster processing. So with faster processing, you can transact more, but the processing power will be more.
Yeah,
No,
but that's
quantum
like
computing will change many things. It's not
yeah,
just the
exactly. I
crypto.
agree. No, no, I agree.
It is quantum computing. The whole fundamental aspect of the binary form zeros and one is getting flipped through. So what
Yes,
quantum
that's
computing is
yeah,
trying to do is that the whole computing world is looking at the binary form like zero and one. It
yes,
won't be zero and one. And if
yes,
you take
exactly.
that thing away, I mean, the whole everything has to be looked upon it with a fresh perspective. It is
Fresh
not just
perspective.
it's
Yes.
just. But I think the coming back to the cryptocurrencies kind of the world as such. Like I mean, it was nice, Varun, to hear your last 6 to 8 months of you tracking this particular
Ripple. Yeah.
Ripple as such. But generally speaking, like I mean, how do you guys see this? I mean, like, are you thinking like, have you transacted in the real world using this particular stuff? Has anybody transacted or just read the reports or
Um, yeah, Raj.
So what I'm doing is currently I have invested a little bit. I recently started, but feel like missed it. But some ripples I got, and then I have started mining actually. So currently, because this is I've been involved in 2013. So 2013, when the prices of Bitcoin and all was very small, me along with a couple of friends, we were thinking of launching Mudra coin. So we named the name, we created blockchain, everything. But all of a sudden, this cryptocurrency lost its shine, like Litecoin, Dogecoin, and everything. The reason that time it happened because the guy in Iceland who Aurora coin, he minted those. He distributed to all the people in Iceland. Then later on, he made money and he just disappeared. Right. So people thought that there is no credibility, and also all of a sudden, whole our plan and everything got shelved. Now this again got rejuvenated because of the ICO concept, by where people started putting up the ICO, and all of a sudden it just became a boom. Last 6 to 8 months, because people think this is how we could do it, and it started. Now the Litecoin, I have a friend. that time, I think he must have around say 100K or Litecoins and all, because he was mining in 2030. There was literally no price. So price of mining Litecoin was more than electricity that we were putting. So that's why he stopped doing it. Now look at the Litecoin, how much it is gone. So all of a sudden, because they got started associating and people started, this is a craze going on currently that people think that everything is going to like Bitcoin. So they keep shifting their focus on different coins. So they shifted their focus to Litecoin, Ethereum. So the guy, Stephen Tulip, I used to sit and have a drink with Stephen Tulip, who was the head of Ethereum. That time he used to tell me, Raj, get this Ethereum, get this Ethereum. I said, I do not know how it's going to go. So we were working on one project actually. That project I have to restart, and that I have restarted, which I'm working on for this all crypto and all. So coming back over there, because all these changes and a lot of people are shifting their focus to different currencies. 4-5 are one of the like major, like there is something called M also, which Monero or something, which is again $1,100-$1,200 or something like this. So within there, a lot of shift and a lot of dump and pumping is happening within this space. A lot of speculation is going on, and I am actually this week onwards, I'm starting a mining actually, which we have identified a facility. I already bought a machine for 3,600 pounds, which is a very higher end, and then we are setting up and starting. So the whole idea is to mine initially Litecoin and then convert it into the other currencies and all. So this is what I'm doing.
So
I have a quick question.
1 minute. Okay. Yeah, just
Sure, go on.
a reminder, we have got only 3 minutes left. So do you want to continue with the next session? I think there are quite a few questions from other people.
I think
Yeah,
let's
maybe
restart.
the next session be only Q&A.
Question.
I'll just start the session. Whoever wants to join, they can join and ask their question to Varun, Raj, and
So
Michelle.
what we have to do, we have to restart again the same session or what?
Yeah, you have to close the session and restart the new one.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah.
So that's the case. Yeah. So
Okay.
I've got only 2 minutes.
I will restart, rejoin. Yeah.
All right. No, not now. After 2 minutes.
Okay, after 2 minutes. Okay.
I think like some people left us, so it might be fair. Like.
Okay, let's all leave and.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Good idea.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that way. Okay, just leave and I'll start the new session. Yeah.
Cool.
Cheers, Milan. Thank you.
Okay, cheers. Bye.